Today's daf is Shabbat Samach Zayin. Today's daf is dedicated for Refuah Shlema for Alana Leah Bat Esther and David Binyamin Ben Duba Fega by Candace Platzker Herman. Okay. We're going to finish, or I should say, spend most of our day today on incantations again. As we had yesterday, we'll try to make some sense out of it and try to connect it back to, as we end this parak. We're going to finish the 6th parak today. And maybe we'll start the 7th parak. We'll see how the time goes. Okay, so we were in the middle of a list of things one should do if one has fever. If you remember, we ended with if you have this fever, so you should do the following things. And if that doesn't work, try this. If that doesn't work, try this. So now we're going to have another thing that Rav Huna says about this. A little bit different. He's going to talk about a bit of a different situation. The situation we had before was an ishta bat yoma. You have a fever either daily or you have a one-day fever. Now we're going to talk about a fever you get every 3 days. Amar Huna li'ishta tilta. Okay, we're at the very bottom of Samach Vav Amud Bet, then moving to the top of Samach Zayin. If you have one, Rashi says a shachefet shlishit shaba mishlosha yamim l'shlosha yamim. That's how Rashi explains it. Every 3 days. Leite shiva silve mishiva dikle. We know that the number 7 always has some sort of important significance. So now we're going to see the number 7 and a lot of things about what you should do here. So do a lot of things with the number 7. Take 7 thorns from 7 palm trees. V'shiva tzive mishiva kishure. 7 slivers from 7 beams. V'shiva siche mishiva geshure. 7 pegs from 7 bridges. V'shiva ktime mishiva tanure. 7 ashes or 7 chunks of ashes from 7 ovens. V'shiva afre mishiva sinre. 7 I guess dust or something from 7 hinges. Vishiva kufre mishiva arbe. 7 tars from 7 boats. Vishiva bone kamune. Okay, all of a sudden we don't have 7 from 7. We just have 7 flax seeds. No, cumin seeds. Vishiva bene midikne de kalba saba. 7 hairs from 7 old dogs. Interesting, they didn't like dogs, remember, but here, take this from an old dog. And take all these things, tie them around your neck with a hair of, with a strand of hair, basically. Okay, very strange thing in that hole in your neck, we talked about yesterday. So that's what you should do. Okay, again, these are very strange. We're going to see an interesting source about this later today. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, li'ishtat smirta, okay, another type of fever that you might have. Rashi says it's mechamemet b'kodachet etaguf, like a burning fever. Okay, now you're going to see why we get to this. You have a burning fever inside you. It reminds us of the sneh that was burning with Moshe. And what happened with the sneh, if you remember, it was burning, there was a fire, but it didn't burn actually. So we're going to go back to the sneh for our incantation. So what do? Lishkal sakina de kule parzela. Find a knife that's all iron. The leza lehecha deika vardina. Go find a small bush, a thorny bush. The liktar bein nira barka, okay, and tie on it a strand of hair. We keep going back to the strand of hair. Yoma kama, now you're supposed to go back to the bush 3 days in a row. The first day, lichrok be porta, cut it down a little bit, the lema, and then say the following verse. Vayar malach Hashem elav, right? This is the malach appears to Moshe. I'll read you the whole pasuk. Bilibat esh mitoch hasneh, right? Comes out from the fire in the burning bush. So what does this pasuk show? The strength of the sneh, despite the fact that it has a burning fire inside of it, which is a reference to the person who's sick. The next day, cut down a little bit more. And the pasuk continues there. Right, I want to see this. Why is it not burning? So again, it's the same thing, really. It's showing, oh, look, the sneh is very strong, despite the fire. Lemachar, so the first 2 days are really kind of the same idea. Lemachar, lichrok be porta, v'lema, vayah Hashem kisar lirot. What is the lashon here? Now, it's not the pshat, but the word sar lirot means, right, God saw that he turned to look, but sar means to go away. So basically, right, he turned. So this is a way of saying, go away from me, right? Like we saw yesterday where he would say these incantations of go away. It's a reference to have the fever leave my body. Now, Amarle Rav Acha Berei Rabba, Rav Ashi, he has a bit of an issue with these 3 days. The lema, why, if you're going to say those psukim, you might have thought he had some other issue, but his issue is this. Instead of saying that, you should say, Vayomer al tikav halom, right? What is Moshe told? Don't come close. Shalna alecha me'al raglecha. Now, don't come close would be the perfect, if you're looking at those psukim, you're looking for some kind of incantation to get the fever away, you should say, don't come close, right? Stay away from me. So therefore, he disagrees with the chosen 3 psukim, and he says, especially as I told you before, the first 2 really meant one and the same. It was all about the strength of the sneh. So instead of doing both of those, why do you only do one and then add this pasuk instead? So therefore, he says, Liyoma kama lema vayar malach Hashem elach, vayomer Moshe v'chulei. In other words, say both those verses. Ulemachar lema vayar Hashem kisar lirot. The second day, say about the sar that it should go away. Ulemachar vayomer al tikav halom. The third day, you should read the verse about don't come near me. Okay, that's what you should say. Ki pasakle, when it goes away your fever, litite, although some people actually translate it a little differently, which maybe makes more sense, that it's like another thing you can do here while you still have the fever. Litite v'lifseke, you should cut it down more. V'lema hachi, and you should say this. Hasne hasne. It's not because you're so tall and you're taller than all the other trees that God showed his presence to you. This is exactly like Har Sinai, right? Why was Har Sinai chosen from all the other mountains? Not because of its great height, but specifically the opposite. It's because you're lower, shorter than all the other trees, because it's a bush. Because you're shorter, that's why God decided to bring his presence, rest his presence on you. And this, when you're going to see the end, you're going to see why it doesn't make perfect sense to say this is already after he's no longer, where he's already better, although maybe this is so that it doesn't come back. So just like the fire saw Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah got thrown into the fiery furnace in Sefer Daniel, va'arikat min kadmoi, and the fire ran away from them. Kain tachmine ashta leploni bar ploni. Likewise, the fire that saw me, te'arov min kadomeanhi. It should leave my body. Okay, that was that. Now, before we move on, we have a bit of an issue with this, which the Mefarshim bring up, which is the Gemara in Shvuot Daf Tevav. If you notice, this one is different than all the others. Why is this different? It's different because it's actual verses from the Torah you're using. Okay, now why is that a problem? So the Gemara in Shvuot on Daf Tevav Amud Bet says that you can't heal yourself using Divrei Torah. Okay, you can't use verses to heal yourself. We don't use verses of Torah for this purpose. So how could you do that here? Right? That's exactly what you're doing. You're going to this bush and you're using these verses from the Torah. So there are different explanations given. Tosfot says this is sakanat nefashot. Okay, it's life and death. Because it's life and death, because you have this burning fever which could kill you, therefore we allow it. So while the Gemara there says you can't do it, that's only if you're a chole without sakana. Your life is not in danger. The Be'eri says you're only using parts of psukim, and that's okay. And he also adds that you're using them, and here it becomes interesting, not as an incantation, but it's really a prayer. Now, I want you to remember this distinction because this is a distinction that's going to come up a little bit later today also about where do we draw the line between something being an incantation and something being a prayer, right? There's a very fine line between those two. An incantation, and we talked about this a little bit, those on the Zoom after class yesterday, is what are all these things really doing, right? There's, on the one hand, there's this, maybe it's all about the placebo effect. It's to make you feel better and strengthen. And we'll see that some of these things that we're doing are words of strengthening and strengthening your inner. And some of them may be actually a prayer to God, right? Somebody said, why isn't this Avodah Zarah? It's not Avodah Zarah because people feel like the incantation is calling up God, basically. And we're going to later today get to where does it cross the line between things that are medicinal, versus things that are maybe medicinal, but they're things that non-Jews do, and are we following the ways of the non-Jews if this is how they do their healing process? So there's all these issues, and where we draw the line is a bit tricky. So the Meiri says, really, the way you're using these verses is for prayer, okay, and not for incantation. Okay. Another answer, which is interesting, is the Maharsha. The Maharsha says that what's going on here, if you use this to actually heal yourself from the fever directly, and you think that by saying these verses, you're going to be healing yourself, for sure that's Asr. That's what it says in Shavuot. But what it says here is you're using it for it's really psychologically. And not only psychologically, he calls it a little bit different. He says it's for your nefesh. What does that mean? Well, we view sickness as almost potentially, again, it's always a big question, do we view this, and is it a direct punishment from God? And potentially it might mean, well, I need to improve myself, and therefore you use these verses to strengthen your religious, or whether you call it religious, or your nefesh, your soul, to strengthen your soul. And in strengthening your soul, again, one can view it from a religious sense, that will bring God to bring you back and therefore heal you. Or you could view it maybe in a psychological way, that by healing your nefesh, we all know how much or at least people believe this, that the stronger the patient is, right, they'll be able to overcome, the more the patient wants to overcome the disease, it will help the patient overcome the disease. If there's an effective psychology on this, and maybe it can be viewed in that kind of way. So it's a lot of interesting answers to this, and it raises interesting issues about what exactly is going on here, and what is somebody actually using this for. So you see that there's a bit of a dangerous line to cross here. If you're really using for incantations, well, then you really can't use verses from the Torah. So how this is viewed, again, it also becomes a matter of, it goes back to our issue we keep coming back to, how much you could do the same ma'aseh, you could say the same words, but if you mean it differently, depends what your kavanot are and what your intent is when you do this. Okay, we'll get more back to this later, and I promise you we'll see a really interesting source about that relates to, can one actually use these things today? Okay, and we'll get back to that. Okay, moving on. So we were at the end of the SNE issue, and now we're up to, where are we? We're on the fifth line, fourth wide line, okay? Lissimta, okay? We're at the fourth wide line, lissimta. What's simta? It's a type of boils. If you have boils, lemahachi. And now we're gonna get to interesting incantations where we're actually calling out names. It's like what we would call mumbo jumbo. Okay, it sounds like they're nonsensical words, but they come from roots that obviously have meaning that connect to these incantations. Baz, bazye, mas, masye. Okay, by the way, asa, the shoresh is healing. Okay, baz is like despicable or disgraceful. So anyway, baz, bazye, mas, masye, kas, kasye. Kas is also sometimes to cut. Sharle va'amralai. Okay, sharle va'amralai. I don't know what that comes from. Elin malache de ishtachume ara de stone. Okay, these are the angels that I'm calling up from the Eretz stone. This isn't for real. It's not like there's angels in stone, but these are the words of the incantation one is supposed to say if you have boils. If you have boils that are painful boils, you should say the following: Bazach bazich, biz bazich, mismasich, kmon kamech. Okay, those are the names of the, okay, whether they're angels or something, names that you're calling up to help you with this incantation. Then you continue and you say, Einech bech, einach bach, okay, which means stay as you are, don't get any worse. Like the way you look right now, don't get any redder. Atrich bach, I'm warning you, zarech kikilutu kipirda, your seeds should be like a mule, de lo pre velo revie, that they don't multiply. They're not fruitful and multiply. Kach lo tipre velo tirbe begufe diplania bar planita. Right? Likewise, I don't want you to reproduce in my body. Likifa, if you have a wound, lemahachi, cherev shlufa vekela netusha, like the sword is ready to go and the sling is in place. Lo shmei yochav chulin machovim. Okay, and therefore don't be called out, pain, sickness, ache, okay, all these things, don't come to me. These are also like names of things, like those names of things shouldn't come to me, okay, meaning I'm prepared. This is, by the way, psychological, right? The cherev shlufa, the kela is ready, right? I can attack you, I can do it. It's like kind of saying to the antibodies in your body, strengthen yourselves. Lishida, if you want to get rid of a shade, Okay, you've been taken over by an evil spirit. Again, what these things are, we don't really know. There's different approaches to how to view shadim in general. We talked about it. We'll leave that aside. But if the following happens to you, lema hachi, this is what you should say. Hevet depakik hevet. You should be stopped up. Stop up. You should be. Repetition here. Lita tavor umishumat. You should be cursed, broken, and excommunicated. Bartit, Bartame, Bartina, Keshamgaz, Marigaz, Veistamai. Again, you're calling up these names of, your protectors. Lishida de Betakise, if you are attacked by the evil spirit in the bathroom. Okay, there were always fears of bathrooms, that there were more evil spirits there, right? There's things that people should go to the bathroom in pairs. Lema hachi, you should say this. Akarkafe de Ari, Va'use de Guriata. Okay, on the head of the lion. Now this is right. The lion is considered the strongest animal, and on the nose of the female lion, the lioness. Eshchakton l'shidai bar shirika panda. I once was approached by, there was a shade there on the nose of the lion, and you would think, right, that would be scary. But b'meshra dekarte chavte beloa dechamre chatarte. Okay, I basically attack this shade, right? You're basically saying to the other shade, well, you're attacking me in the bathroom, but there was once one on a lion and I attacked it, and I was able to get it with I hit it with the jaw of a donkey, and I attacked it. Okay, so basically, again, this is a psychological saying of, oh, look, I'm really strong. I fought that. I can fight this too. Okay, definitely some of these can be understood psychologically like these, others less so. But at least here we can see a more psychological analysis to this. Now we're moving on to the next case in the Mishnah, and you might think we're done with all these incantations, but we're not, because the next Mishnah is going to get to more amulet type things, and we're going to get back to it. And that source I promised you we'll get to soon. B'nei melachim b'zagim. Okay, the sons of kings are allowed to go out wearing this, apparently it was these golden bells that they would wear on their clothing. The Mefarshim say they must have been stopped up and not making noise, because if they're making noise, that's obviously a problem on Shabbat. But they can go with these decorative things, and we're not worried what? We're not worried they're going to take them off. Why are we not worried? Well, they're kings, the sons of kings. The sons of kings don't take off their things and show off, right? They're, first of all, just by them walking around, they're showing off, and they don't need to take off their stuff for everyone to be looking at them. But they're also, it's not respectful for them to start taking off their stuff and showing people. But if you remember in the Mishnah, it said, B'chol adam, but it's not just the B'nei Melachim, it's everybody. The rabbis just chose a typical case, but really this would be true for anybody. So in other words, it's normally that you would see B'nei Melachim doing this, you wouldn't see other people, but really it's everybody. So the Gemara asks, Man Tana, who's the Tana that think this is everybody? Because theoretically, let's say you're a poor person and you walk around with these golden bells on you. So first of all, there's two issues. Number one, it's likely you're going to take them off and show people. Number two, it's likely that people will mock you and start saying, that's not, what are you wearing? Why are you wearing that? That's not appropriate for you. You're a poor person. And then you might be embarrassed and you'll take it off. Again, remember we saw both those types of things before, that either someone will make fun of you and then you want to take it off, or you might take it off to show it off to people. So here, potentially, it could be both. So who's the Tana of this Mishnah that basically allows poor people to go out with this, or anyone who wouldn't necessarily wear these kind of things on their clothing? Amar Rabbi Yoshaya, Rabbi Shimon he. This must be Rabbi Shimon's opinion. Da'amal Kol Yisrael B'nei Melachim Hem. Right, great line. Right, all of us are considered sons of kings, and therefore we all go into that category. The first time this came up, I seem to remember we had it twice. The first time it came up was by Kriyat Shema. Right, the Kriyat Shema you're supposed to read when you wake up early in the morning. Right, when you wake up. But the B'nai Melachim, thank God for them, they slept late till 9, right, till basically the third hour into the day. And because of that, we're allowed to say Kriyat Shema not at the crack of dawn, but we can actually say it also later. So that, they say this Mishnah must also follow that opinion. But Rav Amar, he says it differently. No. You could say that these bells were things that were sewn into the clothing. Once they're sewn into the clothing, there's no chance it's going to take them off when he's walking in the street, and that's why it's allowed, in which case, this Mishnah isn't just Rabbi Shimon's opinion, it's everybody's opinion. Okay, new Mishnah. Yotz'im bebitzat hachargol u'b'shem shu'al u'b'masmer minat saluz mishum refu'ah divrei Rabbi Meir. Okay, here come more amulet type things that people would use for healing purposes. They would go out with the egg of a type of grasshopper, a hargol, and the tooth of a fox, and a nail from a sluve, right? The thing they would use, what's it called? From a cross when they would hang people. So a nail from there, people would use that, I don't know why, for medicinal purposes. That's what Rabbi Meir says. The Chachamim osrim af bechol mipnei, thank you, the gallows. The Chachamim osrim af bechol mishum darkei ha'emori. Okay, the rabbis forbade this even on a weekday. In other words, forget Shabbat. You can't do this even on any day because this is the way of the non-Jews. And we can't do things that they did, right? Just because it's things that non-Jews do. And therefore, these are basically, they're saying all the other things were more things that we do. But these are things that were taken from other nations, and therefore we can't do it. So we're going to get into all interesting discussion about this. First, we're going to go through the details. It's for earaches. The Gemara wants to tell us what these were used for. It's interesting. They don't always tell us everything what it's used for, but here they do. It was used for sleep issues. Okay, how so? Dechia, okay, if the tooth was taken from a live fox, leman denaim. It's for one who sleeps too much. The mita, if you take it from a dead fox, leman de lo naim. It's for someone who can't fall asleep, insomnia. Okay, so depending on whether you take a live one or a dead one, I don't know how to make the connection there, but that's what they knew to be the case. Ubimasmer min atzaluv de avde lezirfa. It was done for infection, for infections. Okay, next. Mishum refuah divrei Rabbi Meir. So Rabbi Meir says these are all used for refuah purposes. Now here it's an interesting thing. What's the debate between the rabbis and Rabbi Meir? Did Rabbi Meir think this wasn't something the non-Jews did? Why does he allow this? So what does Abai and Rabbi explain? De Amrei Travayu, kol davar sheyesh bo mishum refuah, ein bo mishum darkei amori. Fascinating statement. If it's done for healing purposes, we don't care if you use the same methods the non-Jews use. If it heals, great. You're using it for healing purposes. That works. So now they say, okay, so what can you infer from that statement? Ha'ein bo mishum refuah. So if you do any of these things and it's not for healing purposes, yesh bo mishum darkei amori. Right? That if you can't do anything, now, okay, what does the statement mean? You can't do anything like the non-Jews do if you're not doing to heal yourself. Okay? So now what's going to be the problem with this? The Hatanya ilan shamashir perotav. There's a braita that says if you have a tree that all the fruits are falling before they're ripe, basically, and it's a sick tree. So what do you do, right? We all know there's different things people do to help trees. Now, this is not refuah. You might say it's refuah for a tree, but we don't call that refuah. We're going to do something that's considered darkei amori. And why is this allowed? So, klo b'sikha, you paint it red, v'to'ano ba'avanim, and you put rocks on it. Now, that sounds, okay, they assume this is because this is what other people did, and therefore, why would we allow this if it doesn't have medicinal value? So first they say, bishlama to'ano ba'avanim. I understand. Oh, and here actually, I'm a mistake. You could say it's to heal the tree, it would be allowed. But the question is, they're going to say, okay, I understand. They're going to say, Bishlama to'ano ba'avanim, ki hecha delichush chele. Okay, we want to weaken the tree. Okay, Rashi explains, what does this mean? Shal yedeshu shamen v'kocho rav pevotav noshchim. They assume because the tree is very fat and strong, that the fruits are falling. So if you put these rocks on it, it's going to weaken the tree, and that will help the tree to heal, basically. So they say that, okay, we get it's healing purposes. It can be used. But, okay, what about painting it red? Painting it red must be darkei amori. Okay, so they say, that's not doing anything for healing purposes. So what do they answer? And here we get back again to crossing the line between what are we doing these things for? What's the purpose? Why do we paint it red? Everybody will know if they see a tree painted red, right, they're going to notice it. And when they notice it, they're going to know, because everybody knows, because that's what we do, that it's painted red because the tree is sick. And when people see a sick tree, they're going to pray for the sick tree. And therefore, it's actually to heal the tree. Now, it's to heal it in an indirect manner, but through prayer. Kedetanya, how do we know that this is a thing? It says in the following Braita, V'tamei tamei yikra. We've learned this before by the Mitzorah, the leper. The leper, it says in the verse, we call out loudly, tamei tamei. Now this seems very un-PC, by the way, right? To highlight someone and say, oh, you're tamei. On the other hand, why did they do this? Tzarich lahodia tzaro berabim v'rabim yivakshu alav rachamim. The reason why we do this is so that people pray for the person. If everybody knows this is a leper, they will all pray for the person, and that will help heal them. So that's why you see, that's why we did it in red, and therefore there's no question against Rabbi Meir. And the way Abai and Rava explain Rabbi Meir. Amar Ravina, kiman talinan kovse v'dikla. According to who are we allowed to tie, if you have a tree, a palm tree, where the dates aren't growing, you're allowed to tie unripe dates around the tree. Kihatana, like the following Tana, because again, that seems to be Darchei Amori, and it doesn't actually heal the tree. Tane Tana beperek Amorai kamei Rabbi Chia bar Avin. A Tana brought from this perek Amorai. Okay, there's a perek. What is this? There's a perek in the Tosefta of all the cases that are forbidden, mishum Darchei Amori. So someone brought this whole Tosefta in front of Rabbi Chia bar Avin. Amarle, he said to them, Kulu itbe mishum darchei amori. I agree that all of these are the ways of the non-Jews, are forbidden. Levar mehane, other than the following two. He basically says you have a very nice braita, but take out the following two cases. These are not forbidden. And from here, we're going to get to my interesting source that I promised. Do Rabbi Chia bar Avin, Misha yeshlo etzem bigorno, 3 lines from the bottom. What are the two? If you have a bone stuck in your throat, mevi me'oto amin, you bring from the same type, let's say you were eating a type of meat, bring the same type of meat, umeniach le al kod kado, put it on your head, the le mahachi, and say the following thing, chad chad nachi bala bala nachit. Okay, it should go down one by one. It should be swallowed one by one. Swallow, and go down. Chad chad, one by one. Okay, if you say that and you put this thing on your head and say that, ein bo mishum darchei amori. Okay, I don't know why he says that. And you're going to see even this other source is even more strange. But if you say that, that's not Darchei Amori. That kind of is saying that works. It's effective. La'adra, if you have a fish bone stuck in your throat, le'mahachi, you should say the following. Nin'at stakimachat, you got stuck like a needle, right? It's very similar to a needle, a fish bone. It's very thin. Nin'alta kitris, you're locked like a shutter. Shia, shia, go down, go down. Okay? Now, here we're going to break for a minute and read a very interesting passage on the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Shin Lamed Vav. There's a Siman on the Shulchan Aruch about Dinei Rofei, okay, laws relating to doctors. So it starts off with Nitna HaTorah Rishut LaRofei L'Rapot Umitzvahi Ubechlal Pikuach Nefeshu. Okay, almost like you needed permission for a doctor to heal. Why? Because isn't God the ultimate healer? But no, the Torah gave permission to a doctor to heal. By the way, we learned that from V'Rapo Yerapeh. When it comes to damages, says, right, you have to pay the doctor's bills. So there you see, doctors are allowed to heal. So on this, the Maharil, okay, is quoted in Rabbi Akiva Eger on the Shulchan Aruch. Okay, it's really in the Maharil, which was a book written at the end of the Rishonim time period in Ashkenaz. He's quoted a lot in the Shulchan Aruch, actually not in the Shulchan Aruch, in the Ramah's notes on the Shulchan Aruch, he's quoted because he's the Ashkenazi posek and the one that preceded the Ramah. So often, one of the issues of the Ramah when he wrote his comments on the Shulchan Aruch was that the Shulchan Aruch took people from much earlier generations, the Rambam, the Rif, and the Rosh, who lived a while back. And number one, they're all, most of them are from Sephardi countries, and I'm from Ashkenazi countries. And second of all, right, and there's all these books that the Rabbi Yosef Karo never saw. And the second thing he says is that we also hold halacha kebatchai. We hold by the later authorities because they saw the earlier ones. There's always this issue. Do we hold by the greater, earlier scholars, or do we hold by the ones that were living in our generation or close to our generation, saw everybody before them, and then made their comments? So he often quotes the Maharil who lived just before him. So anyway, in the Sefer Maharil, it says, Amar lanu Maharil, because the book is written by his son. So he always quotes, the Maharil told us, it's a great line after reading all these sugyot. Asur l'nasototam. Do not try these at home. Okay? You're not allowed to. It's forbidden. Mishum, here's his reason. De'ein adam yachol la'amod ali kahan. Really, we can't understand them properly, and we might not do them in the right manner that they wanted us to do them. V'chilo ya'alu b'yadam yilagu v'yilagligu al divrei chachamim. And if they don't work, people are going to start saying, oh, look at these rabbis, they didn't know what they were talking about. However, so you might think, okay, first of all, you would have expected maybe him to say they don't really work in the right, but he doesn't say they don't work. He says they don't work unless they're done exactly the way the rabbi said, and it's unlikely you're going to do it exactly the way the rabbi said, and therefore you can't do them because it will just lead to chilul of the rabbis. But then he says, fascinating line, milvad, other than had ita b'Shabbat, sof perek b'meisha, that's us. Misha yesh lo etzem b'grono mevi me'oto amin, v'tzono lomar me'oto min etzem, right? If you get the bone stuck in your throat, bring the same type. Yaniach lo al kod kado, put on your head, yomar ha'achi, and say this incantation. And he says, halachash hazeh baduk u'menuseh, lachen oto levad mitiro. This is proven to work. And since this was proven to work, now you have to ask, how did he know this was proven to work if it's forbidden to do them? Okay, but apparently maybe he felt, I'm not going to make fun, so he tried them out. That one worked for him. So he said, this one works, you can use this. Okay, it's interesting. I don't know how he tested it. He tested a lot of people, right? I wouldn't go ahead trying this one at home either, but it's fascinating. He says, this one actually works out of all the incantations that we see. He doesn't just mean on our daf, right? It comes up in other sugyot. Don't try any of them other than this one. What's really interesting about it is, then the Rabbi Akiva Eger quotes another book where it says in Sefer Shoshanei Aleket, he says, actually, you're supposed to do a few more things. Okay, it's not exactly as it says in the Gemara, but you should also do this and do that and do that in addition to what it says in the Gemara in that particular incantation. So he agrees that you can do that one, but he adds a few different details as to what you're supposed to do. Anyway, very interesting to note. I see someone wrote me, how can you say this incantation if you're choking on the bone? It's a good question, right? How you do this. Maybe it could be, by the way, it's not so clear whether you're saying the incantation yourself or someone else is saying the incantation. Particularly, we kept saying, you say ploni bar plonit. Could be someone else is saying it about you. So that's possible. It could be there were experts also who did incantations. And, obviously, if you're choking, you don't have time to go find an expert. Anyway, it's a very, very interesting source that he says this, and it's just something to know about. Okay. Continuing on, because still, it didn't answer all our questions about this, but anyway, it's an interesting approach. Ha'omer gad gadi usnok lo ashche uboshche. If you say, I'm very, how would you say it? My fortune be fortunate, and don't be weary by day or by night. Yesh bo mishum darchei amori. Apparently, this was something that they would say, and if you say those words, this incantation, you shouldn't say. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, okay, by the way, we're still quoting from this Braita about all the Darchei Amori. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Gad eino ela lashon avodah zara, shene'amar ha'ochim lagad shulchan. He says, what are you talking about? This doesn't go in the category of incantations that are forbidden because they're the ways of the goyim. This is way worse. This is actually avodah zara, because the word God is the name of a god, okay? And, right, I don't think it's because it's God, but God was the name of one of the pagan gods, and we see it from this pasuk in Yeshayahu. Harochim lagad shulchan, those who make a table for God, this Elil, and therefore it's actually avodah zarah. That's way worse than doing like the ways of the goyim. Hu bishma b'hi bishmo. If when the couple is sitting at night together and he calls her by his name and she calls him by her name. But each call by the other name, okay, they swap names. It's also some sort of, Rashi says, mishum nichush, right? Nichush is one of these ways of, calling up magic, sorcery. Okay, someone asked about God, Gududi Gudenu. That's the name of God, that's the Shevet, that's different. But God can also be used, right? It was also the name, it was both one of the Shvatim, that's where it's referencing the Shevet, the Shevet God, the son of Jacob, but there's also a God that's meant to be a God. So now they say if he calls in her name and she calls him in whatever, I keep getting it wrong, but they reverse names, yesh bo mishum darchei amori, that's also forbidden. Again, if they just do it for some reason, fine, but if they're doing it for sorcery purposes or, to protect them from something, then it's us. Dom dane, if you say, strengthen my chaviyot, and you say my where's my barrels of wine? If you say it in those words, yesh bo mishum darchei amori. Okay, that was something apparently the Amorim did. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, ein dan ela lashon avodah zara. What do you mean? If you say right, dan, again, these are words like you pointed out about God, that God could be one of the shvatim, and God could also be a God. Here, Dan, which by the way is also one of the names of the Shvatim. Funny that that's the case. I don't know if it's coincidental, but it also means a barrel. And right, it has a bunch of different meanings. So comes Rabbi Yehuda and he says the same thing. But Dan also is a lashon of avodah zarah. Shene'emar hanishba'im ba'ashmat shomron va'amru chei Elohecha Dan. Okay, so Dan was also used as an Elil, God. Ha'omer la'orev tzrach u'le'urvat ha'shriki v'achziri liznavayach l'tova. If you say to the raven, scream, and you say to the female raven, whistle, and bring me back, bring your tail back for bringing good to me, bringing me plentiful or something like that. Yesh b'mishum darchei amori. It was another thing they did that you're not allowed to do. Ha'omer, here is going to come another interesting one in terms of what people actually did. Okay, we're going to see. Ha'omer shachatu tarnagol zeh shekaha arvit. It's known that the tarnagol, right, we say asher natan l'sachvi v'na l'avchim ben yom u'ben layla, about the rooster crowing in the morning. What if the rooster crowed in the evening? It's opposed to the morning. Some people explain it differently, but I think let's go with that pshat. Or you see a tarnagolet shekara gavrit, a hen that started calling out like a rooster. Okay, so both these things are against nature. Yesh bo mishum darchei amori. If you say slaughter this tarnagol that did this, or the tarnagolet that did that, then that's darchei amori. This is fascinating also because it comes up in the Shulchan Aruch that this is forbidden. However, in the Beit Yosef, when Rabbi Yosef Karo wrote a much more expanded book about all the halachot, right? That was based on it's really based on the Torah, and then it leads kind of to the Shulchan Aruch. They're supposed to be kind of used together, but the Shulchan Aruch just paskins. But here we have his discussion about things. He says, but the fact is we see people slaughtering a tarnagolet that calls out like a tarnagol. Okay, we see people doing this. So how do we rectify that? So he brings a possible answer that maybe we hold that this isn't one of the things of Darchei Amori, like Rabbi Chia bar Avin said, some of these aren't, maybe that. But here the Rama adds that it's without saying the words. People are slaughtering them, which is okay. It's okay to slaughter a hen if you see it calling out like a rooster, but as long as you don't say the incantation with it, the words, shachatu tarnagol zeh shekara arvit. It's partly the issue that's forbidden here is the recitation. Comes the Taz and he adds to this that that's only the case, as he says, it's true that maybe there's this distinction between doing something versus saying the incantation, but we're only going to allow it in a case where there's something against nature, like this female acting like a male, and why, he says, what's the issue with this? Why is this so? He says it causes charadad la'adam. When somebody sees this, they get very nervous. When they see something totally, right, it's interesting in terms of females acting like male. I don't know, it's interesting, but they basically say that causes people to get scared. And because of that, we allow, as long as you don't use the incantation, we allow people to slaughter these hens if they're behaving against their nature. Okay, it's a strange sugya, and even more strange because they bring up that actually it's usher to do this, but people are doing it, and how do we rectify that? Okay, moving on to more cases. Eshteva otir, eshteva otir. If you say I'm going to drink and there should be more left, basically you're drinking wine and you want to say you want more to be, you want it to have as much wine as there was before you drank. So yesh bo mishum darchei amori. Interesting. People always say, that Jews drink less than non-Jews, and maybe this is something that, that's something that comes from them, this idea of having so much wine, but that was just I think that's really a thing. Hamivakat beitzim bakotel. If you break your eggs on a wall, bifnei ha'efrochim, in front of the chicks, Rashi says it was a skula for not letting for the chicks to live. Yesh bo mishum darchei amori. Can't do this. Hamegis bifnei ha'efrochim. If you mix, what is this? You mix them in a pot in front of the efrochim. Yesh bo mishum darchei amori. Hamirakedet v'hamona 71 efrochim. If you dance and you count 71 chicks, b'shvil shelo yamutu, yesh bo mishum darchei amori. This is also darchei amori. Why 71? I don't know. The only thing I thought of 71 is it's the number of people that sat in the big Sanhedrin in the Beit HaMikdash. But I don't know why 71. We saw 41 before. Maybe there's something with these numbers of, one more than 10. Hamirakedet lekutach. Okay, these are all things, right? People say talking to your plants. So here you have people who danced before the kutach. That was this weird mixture they would make with the whey and the, we saw this before, some sort of spice. If you're silent when you're cooking lentils, if you scream when you're cooking grisim, pearl barley, this is a really disgusting one. If you urinate right in front of the pot, I don't know exactly in what scenario she's doing this. It's female, by the way, mashtenet. Okay, in order to allow things to cook quicker. But if you want things to cook quicker, we will give you some advice of things you can do. You can put in a twig from a tut tree, okay, a type of tree. Or you can put glass, shards of glass in the pot. They say, well, maybe it'll work, but you really shouldn't do this. Oh, thanks, a mulberry tree, someone pointed out, the tut. You really shouldn't put broken glass because it's dangerous, right? If you put your broken glass in your pot and you try to take it out, you might actually cut yourself. So again, don't try this at home for safety purposes. Tanu Rabbanan, another braita about this. You can put a lump of salt in the candle in order, right? Remember, candle means the holder where they put the oil, in order for it to go light in a brighter manner and to light it for longer. You can put like clay and shard underneath the candle. It was a way of having it last longer. You do the following things: you cover the candle, or you uncover the naft. Then it's bal tashchit. You're basically causing it to burn quicker, and that's destroying something for no reason. If you say the words chamra v'chai lepum rabbanan, it's almost like saying l'chaim, right? The wine is for the life of the rabbis. Ein bo mishum darchei amori. This is allowed. Maaseh b'Rabbi Akiva she'asa mishte lebeno v'al kol kos v'kos she'evi amar chamra v'chai lepum rabbanan, chai v'chamra lepum rabbanan lepum talmidei hom. It's almost like saying a l'chaim. I guess it's saying a toast, right? Non-Jews do toasts and we do toasts. So they're basically saying you can do a toast, that's okay. And with that, Hadron alach b'meisha, we're going to stop here for today, just to do a little bit of a summary of what we're up to. And we're about to start. So first of all, Yishkoch, I'm finishing the first 6 parakim of Shabbat. They were not simple. We're now moving on to really the parak that, in my mind, should have been at the beginning. It starts with Klal Gadol, like this is a big rule about Masechet Shabbat, and it's all about, we're going to get to the Lamed Tet Melachot, we're going to get to all other things. And interesting, we're going to see, all the Lamed Tet Melachot and all things about when you're, well, I'll get to the next mission. We'll get to that tomorrow. I won't give much more of an intro. So just to review, what we did now was, remember all the things you can carry, just to review. If it's clothing that you wear that we're not worried you're going to take off, or decorative, ornamental, you can wear it on Shabbat. Or if it's to cure you, and then we get to, okay, well, what's really curing you, what's not really curing you, what's proven to work, what's not proven to work. And then we get into the category of things that you might maybe theoretically could wear, but the rabbis forbade it because you might take them off and carry them. And then we have the last category, which is things that are forbidden from the Torah, which are not part of your clothing. And then we had a debate about certain things, right? Is this part of your clothing? Is it not? It's something you would wear, wouldn't wear. And all those things are forbidden midoraita because you're basically carrying, okay? We're finished with that topic for now. We'll get back to carrying more later, but now we're moving on to the real meat and potatoes of Shabbat. All these things were really intros to things before Shabbat, to prepare for Shabbat. Remember, don't take these things off your body so that you don't end up accidentally wearing them, going out with them, all that kind of stuff. This was all preparation, likewise with the candles and all the other cooking, all the things we saw. It's kind of leading up to Shabbat. Now we finally get to, okay, we're at Shabbat. Here's what we have to do.